It's just those laser pointers. Some of them are very dangerous and it's hard to know. LED, lovely. We love LEDs. Especially because they're not candles. Yeah.
Because they're not recyclable and they end up in the landfill, and we try to avoid that. So if you can invent an organic recyclable glow stick, the board would love to see a sample of that. And we can make a fortune. So.
Oh, no!
Negative.
That's a really good one. I'll make this really fast because Zach's got to get back to this. We have designated smoking areas on the path. Please use one of them. You cannot, I repeat, not smoke pot in a designated smoking area during the event.
Pot we treat like alcohol. No public places, no public hours. And actually right now, technically, is a public hour. It's anytime the gates are open. Or where we camp, private area, that's our own. We can do what we want. But public areas, even if you have a beer in your camp or smoke a joint, do it with in mind consideration where not everyone's comfortable with that. Pack it in, pack it out. Don't leave bottles and cans in public waste areas. It gives the public the wrong impression. We stopped doing alcohol about 19 years ago.
It was 1997.
And I cannot tell you the difference that made in the quality of the fare. Medical and security got cut in half. All those people we thought were having bad trips were drunk. And when they stopped...
Not exactly all, but most.
In the back. Okay. All right, and there's one other thing on that, and this is, I'm sorry to say it. Look, if you're under 21, you can't drink and you can't smoke pot at the Oregon Country Fair.
Or any place legally, really.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I know we all kind of get to feeling like this is our safe place where we can do anything we want, and unfortunately that's not the case on that issue.
And we are liable to land forfeiture, so we could not be here if we didn't enforce that. So help each other out.
All right, thank you for all of you guys joining us. And thanks in advance for all of your hard work over the weekend. And I hope you guys have an absolutely kick-ass time.
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rocco. When I first came here, I worked with Whitebird. I still do in town. But we had about a dozen of us, first aid and CPR trained, and some counselors with a foot locker. Now, we have hot and cold running water, private exam rooms, ER docs, nurses, EMTs on 24/7 throughout the fair at several locations. It's turned into quite a thing. The docs even said to me at one point, you should put on the ticket, cheapest place in Lane County to see a doctor. Buy the ticket, come to the booth. And the docs love it because they get to work without all the paperwork and bureaucracy and fix stuff. And it's what they always wanted to do. So it's fun. But here to tell you a little about that, because the medical coordinator is not here right now, is Jessica Cotterpin, one of our bums. So she'll talk to you about medical a little bit, and then we'll get down to the meat of this.
I'm going to be brief because I know we're all here to hear from Zach, but this is important and I want to make sure everybody knows we have a lot of resources on site. My name's Cotterpin. I'm a member of the management team. I'm the newest member, so they call me the swimmer. I'm one of your resources along with anybody else on that team, any of your bums. If something goes awry and you need help, please feel free to call on someone. Other resources on site are Whitebird. Whitebird is not only a medical facility, but almost half of their staff are here for other purposes. They have crisis counselors. They have people here to help with the issues of your soul and spirit, not just your physical body. Although if you do need help with your physical body, that is the best place to go. We also have Cedar. Cedar is a mediation service. And Cedar can deal with issues that you've brought to the property with you. Not everything starts here. Some things start other places. Well, Whitebird is really good at dealing what's happening right here, right now, and they're an amazing medical facility. We also sometimes just need help talking through or dealing with other issues that come with us to fair, because family isn't just here, it's everywhere. There's also camping help. So we have a camping crew that's here to help. So as you're getting set up, sometimes there are some confusion, some conflicts about exactly where we should be set up and where it has been set up for the past 400 years, even though we've only been on site for 46. That doesn't matter. Some people's campsites have been there for a really long time, and we understand that. And there's a resource for that. So you can reach out to Camping Crew to help with that. It's important that you know about these resources, especially if you're newer to the event and this isn't something that you've heard of before. We want to make sure you know where they are. Whitebird has their Big Bird station all the way up at main stage there. Full medical facility. They also have a new facility they call Little Wing in our new area, the Savannah Do, and that's right by the entrance, very easy to get medical transport too, so we're really excited about that. And like Zach said, hot and cold running water, private exam rooms, everything you could possibly want for the price of a 3-day ticket. So thank you all very much for being here and being us, but if you do need a resource, they're here, they're on site, they're available to you, and if you don't know where to start, find someone with a shirt and a radio and reach out to them. They will help you get to the right place.
Yeah. They go Wednesday to Monday full time at those locations that Jessica shared, and now they're open at main camp. They have it, so they started when main camp opened 3 weeks ago, and they're still doing it. So since the first week in June, so you can see somebody even today if you'd like.
They're a safe place to go if you took something and were expecting a different response, or domestic issues, anything sexual. They're the ones to go to. So those resources are here on site. Know them. Look out for your campmates. Look out. Keep an open ear. If you see someone or hear someone crying in a tent, refer them to Whitebird. We're all looking out for each other.
They have insect repellent too.
Yeah.
You can also yell, "Quit whining," but it's not as humanistic.
That's not 3 chips, Zach.
It's not 3 chips.
And don't call 911.
Only medical, Whitebird calls an ambulance, and only Fair Central calls 911. And if you do call 911, they're just going to call Fair Central anyway and say, "We got a call from the property, what's up?" So send everything through Fair Central. Naya. You would still call Fair Central and medical. We can get there quicker, and then if they have to transport them, they can. But they do suturing, they do advanced life support, they do a lot of things right on site. So.
Yeah, I mean, it seems counterintuitive, but emergency systems outside of the fair will not, I repeat, not respond to anything out here without calling us first. So it's better to call us first, because then we call them.
Right.
Rather than
Faster
playing
that
tag.
You can do direct pressure though while you're waiting.
Yeah, I mean, if you forget all this and you're like in the middle of the lots and something bad goes down, call 911. But in general, find a Tinkerbell, call 0, and on your cell phone, your 2 numbers to call the Oregon Country Fair: 935 SITE.
Like site. The site. 935 site.
Area code 541. The other one is 935 FAIR. So.
Ta-da.
Are those a quartermaster?
A ring to Fair Central
during the event. Site goes to quartermaster during pre-fair.
As of right now, site goes to QM and fair goes to the office that's on site. But during the fair, they both go to Fair Central.
541-935-SITE.
Can you say it again?
935 site, SITE, and fair, FAIR.
All right, we should get to the body of this.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
About 35 years ago, we started doing this training. We did it because when I worked with Whitebird, we'd go out on a call, and more than half the time we were talking to somebody in a staff shirt. So, humanistic intervention became the thing because the fair is a showcase. And the reason I've been involved for 43 years, not only for the great party, it is a great party, but it's because it showcases things that I love, with how we treat the environment, how we treat the land, with Energy Park, with Community Village, with recycling, We even got the state's recycling #1 award a couple years ago for trying to get to zero footprint. All those ideas, and it extends also to how we treat each other. These people skills today that we talk about, this kind of training, how we treat each other on the land, how we treat the public when they come in. So that's what all this is about. So, this year is our 47th fair. Next year is our 48th. But next year is also the 50th year of the Summer of Love, 1967. So this is a herald year. We're heralding that coming up. This is a year to work on how you generate love, how you trade love, how you share love. Not just sex and romance, but the love that is oneness. So, how many of you have a soul? Yeah, some people are hard existential. What you see is what you get. They don't believe in that hippy-dippy stuff. I'm a soul person. But come up here a second. Come here. It won't hurt. Relax. Calm down. So, what's your first name?
Cameron.
Cameron. This is Cameron. This flesh and bone, these molecules, these atoms, this personality, this what I call earth suit being eaten by bugs is Cameron. That's what we psychologists, I'm a psychologist in the other world, call his ego. It's not a bad thing. It's who he is. It's Cameron. But at the same time that he's made of atoms and molecules and flesh and blood, Cameron, birth to death, that's his ego. At the same time, if you get down to the really tiny pieces, smaller than atoms, you get to something called photons. And what a physicist would tell you is that he's actually made of light. And the light forms everything. The trees, the ground, the air, him. It's all one. And those little photons have attributes. This is kind of trippy, but it's physics. Look it up. Photons are eternal. So Cameron only has a certain amount of time to be Cameron in the Earth suit, you know, maybe 100 years. But the photons that he's made of never die. They just move. They change. Some people call that reincarnation. Some people call that energy transfer. Whatever you want to call it, same thing. Photons go on. And the trippiest thing about those little photons that Cameron is made of is that they can show you the math, aware. So they're listening to this workshop. And they talk to each other. They communicate. In here, in here, in here. They're all over talking to each other. And once two photons are part of Cameron's hand, if you take those two photons and you zip them apart 100,000 light years and you spin one, the other one instantly spins, like they know each other forever.
Spooky action.
So the things we learn, what?
Spooky action, that's what that's called.
Spooky actions. So we learn, and that's the part of him, the light, that I call his soul. That's how I think of soul. And what I call that these days is Obi-Wan Cameron. So there's Cameron, that's flesh and bone until he dies, and then there's Obi-Wan Cameron, who is the light. And that light is shareable, and that love is the force. Love is one, love is light, all those things that the hippies were saying in 1967. Physicists today say, actually they were right. We're connected. And using that connection and how we interact, well, we're going to practice in a minute some of that. So thank you very much. Have a seat.
I'm honored.
You're done. Obi-Wan. So, what does it mean to be grounded? There's a term we use in this training called grounded. We have general principles. This is just introduction. And we'll have specific principles, and then we'll have method. If I say I want Naya to be grounded, what does grounded mean?
Not carrying the past with you, being here now.
Being here now, not censored. What else? Comfortable in her own skin, relaxed, centered. Absolutely, be grounded. The earth is where I want my energy to go and where I want to draw it from. So I don't want to be a battery, I want to be a wire. I want to let it go pick it up when you need it. Well, Muhammad Ali said, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, right? Relax to the point of impact. When you see a great athlete do something, well, one thing great about them is they make hard things look really easy. And if you watch a woman in gymnastics in the Olympics getting on a beam, say, well, what will she do before she gets on the beam? She'll go, grounded. Right? Grounded is where you have free will. There's a guy named B.F. Skinner. He wrote a book called Beyond Freedom and Dignity, which claimed from a behaviorist point of view that you have no free will at all. That everything you do is instinct, habit, conditioned response, reaction. And a lot of things we do are. We have the delusion a lot of having free will. Why did you choose that? Well, I didn't choose it at all. We blame addicts, we blame people that act out impulsively, we blame people that lose their temper. But really, to have free will is the only place you can act from your values and from your logic. So if something pushes one of my buttons, while you're on land or anywhere, something pushes one of your buttons, it's like a guy came up to me at a bead shop in Eugene. I was at a bead shop with my wife. We were buying beads for the veil of my daughter's wedding gown. What in the hell was I doing there? Driving the car. Keeping the company. So I'm hanging out in the bead shop, and this guy comes out of the back, and he goes, oh, you just had to teach this intervention out at the fair. And I said, maybe, what do you want? he said, because I took your training. He said, I work at the bead shop, I'm a meteorologist. He said, but at the fair, I'm working pathrow, internal security. And I just want you to know that sometimes, not all the time, your shit works. I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, this guy, I found these 3 people sneaking in, no wristbands, no tickets. And 2 of them went, oh, sorry, and we're going to walk out. The 3rd guy goes into his pack, the story the guy told me, and comes out with a giant crescent wrench. And goes, well, I have this. So he said, I saw the wrench, and for some reason, your training kicked in, and I and then I found Obi-Wan, my loving soul, and then I turned back to the guy. He said, when I turned back as Obi-Wan, I controlled the wrench. It didn't matter who was holding it. The wrench was talking to me. He said, so I looked at the guy with all this, good energy, and that's probably a really bad idea right now for both of us and the wrench. No one's going to be happy. And he said, the guy, just feeling me, spun around, put the wrench back in the bag, spun back, and said, I'm sorry.